Alcoholics are born different. Alcoholics are born, drug addicts are made. Alcohol has 1% to do with alcoholism, and the same with every addiction, food, cake, porn. It's not the problem. It's just a symptom. They brought me back to life on the side of a smelly, old, rainy, stinky road in the back end of Manchester on 2 occasions. I should have died 20 times over. Still happening today. Crazy miracles. I said, if there's a God up there, I can't do this on my own anymore. About 30 seconds later, a guy walked around the corner called Derek. Don't dare tell me you can't achieve your dreams. It's just not true. And there's only one thing that's stopping you, and that's you.
Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to the Vibrant Soul Society, The Conversations. Our mission here is to help you see and discover that you are greater than your thoughts. Then what is beyond our thoughts? Well, that's our deeper essence. So twice a week, I'm bringing you inspiring guests, motivating guests, and guests that can offer wisdom on how to live a better life. So today, we're very blessed and privileged to have Dr. Robb Kelly with us. Dr. Robb, welcome.
Thank you so much. Great to be here. Hey guys, great to meet you all.
So for people that are unfamiliar with you, who is Dr. Robb?
Dr. Robb is a behavioral scientist, a psychologist, a neuroscience expert. We deal with childhood trauma, depression, alcoholism, addiction, PTSD. And I live in San Antonio, Texas, but you can tell by my accent, I'm not from here, from a little town called Manchester in England. I came over here 18 years ago to Dallas, Texas, where I stayed for 14 years. 18 years on, I find myself in San Antonio, married. I'm a great business, great friends. I own a restaurant. I own a security business, and I own a convention business. So yeah, it keeps us busy.
Yeah. So what was that turning point for you? Because I know reading your book, if no one has read your book, Daddy, Daddy, Please Stop Drinking, it was really a profound life that you lived that got you to the point today. Can you talk about some of those hardships?
I grew up in a lower class income family. We grew up on the council estates. Americans, you'll notice the projects, Section 8 housing kind of thing. Very rough, not a lot of money. Loving family. But yeah, I took my first drink at the age of 9 years old. There's alcoholism in my family. Obviously back then, nobody had heard of alcoholism, I think. So yeah, just on stage in Liverpool, I took my first drink. And it's kind of ticking clock all the way down to early 20s when it all spiraled out of control. But alcohol worked for me for a long time. I did some things, played at Abbey Road, I went to college. I did some amazing things, but I was never given anything free or any handouts when I was a kid. Like I say, it was a tough area. You either fought or you got beaten up. That was it. And I was the kind of guy that fought. And which is really interesting because when I became homeless after I lost everything, that period of my growing up in that environment really suited me well for living on the streets. So I eventually obviously lost everything. The journey it's a miracle I'm here. I should have died 20 times over. Still happening today. Crazy miracles, but it was rough to say the least.
Yeah, it sounds like really a rough upbringing. So I encourage people to read the book. And I don't quite remember, what was that spark for the drink at 9 years old? Was it just presented to you?
Yeah, I was on stage and we played, back in the day, you played 2 45-minute spots. So we'd done the first one. I was stage struck. There was so many people there. So they had this big velvet curtain up on the stage, and as it lifted, all the people, I mean, I'm 9 years old, for goodness sake. I get off the first hole and I am petrified. I froze a couple of times on stage. My uncle said, hey, drink this beer, it'll calm you down. And the minute I drank the alcohol, my whole world changed. Now, you can ask other people my age, 8, 9, when you took the first drink, was like, I spat it out. It was horrible. It wasn't for me. And I get that with alcoholics now when they say the same thing as, yeah, it changed my life. It wasn't because we don't drink because of the taste. We drink because what it does to us, to get out of our face most of the time. So yeah, that was the first. And then it set off. Every time we played, we had a couple of hard beers. Wasn't much, but it was enough to give me the courage and the confidence to go on and really enjoy myself.
Right. So it was really about that feeling, that courage and confidence to face all those people and perform for all those people.
Yes, definitely. And it served me well for confidence, girls, as I went through high school. which was pretty good. So it was my solution. I know it might sound weird to some people, but it was my solution for a long time until he turned on me in the end. And I know why today, but we didn't know back then. Most people don't know today why, but back then I didn't know. And then all of a sudden I found myself where I didn't want to stop. I wanted to drink every day and have fun. And eventually, many years on, I found out I couldn't stop.
You couldn't stop because it was just your body was just used to it.
Well, alcoholics are born different. Alcoholics are born, drug addicts are made. So I was born with 3 parts of the brain that differ to any other addiction. It's the hypothalamus, basal ganglia, and the amygdala. The hypothalamus is the guy. That piece is our survival part of the brain. It tells from birth that we have to eat food and drink water to survive. You see babies holding the stomach crying or putting their hand down the mouth. It's a natural occurrence within even the newest born baby that we need to do this. So as we grow, it becomes a working part of the mind. We know we have to eat and we know we have to drink water to survive. At a certain point of the alcoholics, which is me at the time, drinking career, the hypothalamus turns around and tells the alcoholic to drink alcohol only. That's why we can go days or weeks without food or water. So when the survival part of the brain is telling me to drink alcohol to survive, that's why I can't stop. That's why the choice is taken away from me and it becomes a disease because it's something internally that we have no control over.
Hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. Perfect sense that we had no control over. I remember an ex-girlfriend. She just got out of recovery. A waiter passed by with a drink, and I could tell the recovery did nothing for her. I saw she was still craving that alcohol. So,
Yeah.
so how do you go about? Because you even mentioned in your book, you just talk about like alcoholism is not a drinking problem; it's a thinking problem. So how do we rewire that brain to no longer crave alcohol?
The rewiring of the brain, you've got to remember, first of all, alcohol has 1% to do with alcoholism, and the same with every addiction, food, cake, porn. It's not the problem. It's just a symptom. So rewiring brain, then I'll give you some little tips, guys, before we go today. Everything's in a pattern. So the pattern comes from childhood trauma. Everyone has childhood trauma. In the environment we grow up, we get these patterns. Now, most of the time when there's childhood trauma, molestation, little tiny things, not big things, usually it's ingrained into behavior that way. Most neural pathways, which are thought patterns, and there are billions in the head, self-sabotage. So you'll find alcoholics, addicts, PTSD people were great at starting things, but we're terrible at finishing them because we don't finish it. We don't ask to go. We don't ask the guy. We don't start our business because we're scared stiff of rejection and failure. And that comes from our childhood that we pick up. But the awkward thing is, the reason that we spent so much time studying this over the last 25 years is that most of this stuff occurs in the subconscious brain. You don't know that you're self-sabotaging. You don't know why you can't get yourself above 45% in life, love life, health, food, whatever it is, because of the trauma. So the idea is to rewire. We use things like neuro-linguistic programming, somatic experience, 9D breathwork therapy, which is the latest scientific tool that we use. We use psychology, behavioral science. We change everything about you. We rewire, and then we get rid of the trauma. So we have to uncover, discover, discard of all the stuff that we went through, even if we don't think it was damaging at the time. Is very damaging. Like, for instance, my parents used to drop me off every Friday at their friends. I was about 8 or 9. So they could go out and drink, late, sleep in, pick us up Saturday. Well, when the car left the driveway, we were friends, we automatically started a game called Run Around Naked Game. And you can guess what happened in the house. Well, I thought that was normal. And for many years, I suffered. I suffered with my intimacy. I suffered with my personal relationships. I would never take my top. I was bodybuilding one time, go to the pool, never take my top. And it all went back to that episode in the house, which I would never have thought of. I'd forgotten about until I did my work with a great guy. And it revealed that my trauma was still rife.
Yeah. So you talked about something really interesting. So the latest scientific research was the 9D breath work. What was this that you were talking about?
So it's just recently come out. It's invented by a guy called Robb Kelly, no relation. basically what it is you wear headphones and you wear eye masks and you black out eyes. And it's a subliminal breathwork therapy. So you're getting subliminal messages from 9 directions, as well as a voice in the front and music in the background. And it takes you, and the subliminal message are pulling out from the subconscious, the good and the bad, depending on whether it's like 32 programs. We've only had it for about 8, 9 months, and it's absolutely mind blowing. It really is. So all my staff have done it. We've had about 300 patients so far through it. And the latest thing we're doing, we started a few months ago, we're seeing results, is we're starting to work with onset dementia and onset Alzheimer's. And we're testing and trialing that now. It reprograms, it remaps, it rediverts away from negative into positive.
Wow, that sounds really remarkable. 300 people so far through the program. So do you have any stats on the recovery rate of how that program is doing for them?
The program itself, like I say, it's not been that long. If I was going to pull a stat out of the air right now, I'd say 99% is good. Now, as a whole, because we used to just do alcohol and drugs, but now we do any mental health. Alcohol and drugs is like 5% these days of what we do. We have a 98% success rate.
Wow.
It's unheard of. I think 7% is the nearest one to us. But to back that up, we also offer a money-back guarantee if we fail, or you relapse, or you fall back into depression while following our program. We're a concierge service. I only take on 4 patients every 3 months. Now we have staff at therapists that take on hundreds of patients, but me personally, only take on that amount. So yeah, we're changing lives, and we have been doing for years. We scared the medical fraternity about 16 years ago. They stripped me of my license, and it took a long time to get it back because they said we were in danger with what we were teaching, and it didn't go by the psychology laws, rules, and regulations. And it doesn't, because what we're being taught and told around mental health is not correct. I don't even know where to start with the falsities over the years that we've been taught about stuff, and it's just not true.
Right. I completely understand that because I was dealing with this mental health system for, many, many years as a bipolar. And I finally got myself out of the bipolar brain by meditation, by doing this self-care, reprogramming that brain. But it sounds like there's actually a faster way to do this now with that 9D breath work as opposed to the traditional meditation approach and some other things that you may recognize out there. But you were told all these stories about that it's incurable, you can't get rid of this, and all sorts of things. And I also had multiple sclerosis that I no longer have. I lost the ability to walk. I'm fine today. I no longer subscribe to the medical system that's out there today. So one of the things that I'm seeing that I want to go back a little bit into the book, because I think one of your pivotal moments that really got you onto the right path, you want to call that, is what you talked about in chapter 15, meeting John. That was a pretty divine experience.
It was. And at the time I was on 8 years because of, I got molested by my priest, had lost everything. I was on the streets. I tried suicide attempts 7 times, and on 2 occasions I was dead. They brought me back to life on the side of a smelly, old, rainy, stinky road in the back end of Manchester on 2 occasions. I literally couldn't kill myself. I tried so hard. Slitting my wrist. I've still got the marks today. Somebody found me, and, it's just all this horrific stuff. But one morning, Monday morning, about 2 o'clock in the morning or something, I'm walking around the factory area, and there's no houses and nothing, not a human being in sight. And I dropped down to my hands and knees, pouring down with rain. I was done. Now, I was crying, not because I'd lost my kids, ages 1 and 3, my wife, my house and cars, my holiday home, my parents, my sister. I wasn't crying because of any of that. On that occasion, I was sobbing from my belly because it was the first time I realized that I couldn't stop drinking. And I looked up to the sky, and I'd never know why I did this till this day. And I said, if there's a God up there, I can't do this on my own anymore. About 30 seconds later, a guy walked around the corner called Derek. He'd missed his last bus home from Bible study. He'd walked an hour. He took a shortcut for the first time in his life and came upon me. He said to me, do you need help? And I said, I'm dying. I'm an alcoholic. And he said, come back to the truth. I'm in recovery. I'm a Christian. So I got back a bait for the first time. And I don't know, a year maybe. And he said to me, you can stay over as long as you want, but I go to these AA meetings and, you have to come with me. And I'm like, well, I don't want to go. I've been to them, waste of time. But he said, well, you either stay and do it or you don't and you leave. So I went halfway around the meeting and everyone's sharing usual stuff, war stories. This guy said, my name's John, I'm a recovered alcoholic. And I looked up and there was this guy, we sit in a circle in the UK, and this guy almost, I don't know, 6 o'clock to me. I heard him talk about stuff, God and stuff like this. And he said he was recovered. And I went over after the meeting. I said, hey, Joe, my name's Rob. Will you sponsor me? And he said, no. Just before that whole ground opened up and swallowed me, because that was huge for any alcoholic to do. He said, I'll be your spiritual advisor for 12 weeks. I went round that man's house for 12 weeks. We swiftly through the big book, the Bible, philosophy, how I've been picked and chosen and all this crazy stuff. And on the last day there, he said, your life will change from tomorrow. To which my reply was, I'm living at this guy's house called Derek. I'm in his basement on a bought mattress. Nobody knows I'm there. I think you're wrong with this one, Joe. The very next day, Derek came home at lunchtime. Derek, what are you doing home? He's like, the guy that sweeps the floor at the factory, he's just resigned. Do you want a part-time job? Didn't think about John. I said, yeah, brilliant. So, and turned into a full-time job that week. And, I got my first paycheck about 2 weeks later. And it wasn't much. I don't know, a few pounds or something. But I went to the gas station and I bought a little teddy bear and a card. And I wrote on the cards, thank you, John, for introducing me to God, because he, capital H, took the compulsory drink away. And I'm going around to that guy's apartment and I'm so excited, Barbara. I'm so excited. And I get there and he just looks a little bit dirty, the curtains. Get on the door and the woman on the right hand came out. Just, can I help you? I said, yeah, where's John? He's not moved out already, has he? And she said, John who? I said, your neighbor, you nutter. The neighbor. She said, oh, I've only been here 3 months. I've not seen anybody in that apartment. So around to the left-hand side and knocked on the guy's door a little bit harder than I should maybe, because I'm a little bit confused. He could, big guy, what do you want? Where's John gone to? John who? I said, what's wrong with you guys? John. He went on to tell me that apartment was derelict. And if you did walk in the door, there used to be old tape on it, you would fall down to the bottom floor below. You can't go in. So I'm like, well, this guy crazy. So I went to the meeting the next night. I went to the meeting. And as I went in, the chairman see me, Robert. I said, oh my God, you recognize me. He said, yes, thank God for that. Does John still come here? And he said, John who? Which John? I said, the guy opening the coffee machine. I asked him to sponsor me, And he said, Rob, you were over there at the coffee machine speaking to yourself. We've never found that man. And I put the biggest detective search agency in Manchester once I started getting wealthy on them, and we could never, ever, ever find that guy or any trace of it. And I would never tell that story, Baba, for about 20 years. Never tell it, because I was embarrassed and scared that people thought I was crazy.
Right, but you're not crazy. So when you reflect back on it now, you think it was an angel? You think it was God himself? What's your reflections on that?
I think it was an angel from what I know that God sent. Because looking through my life, so many near deaths have happened. And I know that I somehow was chosen to come over here and do work, because 95% of the work we do now with a 97% success rate is for what John taught me. And he told me to go around the world and guarantee people can recover. And that's unheard of. There's no cure for alcoholism. John said there's no cure for food poisoning or the common cold. So let's not get into that argument. And all the stuff I learned, and, I just went back to college again and all this amazing stuff that took on board. And then it got like an obsession, because I was seeing too many people die around me, Baba, from lack of information. And I still see it today with the food industry, the health and mental health industry, and what we're being told it was not true, and lies and stuff like that. Is I went into studying with a passion, and I swore to death to earth, John and God, that when I get back on land of the living, I will spend the rest of my life helping the suffering and their families. Well, I was one of the first people to say, you've got to involve the family. And he used to say to me all the time, Isaiah 61, I don't know what that means. What does it mean? You bring healing to the suffering and great use to the families. And I never understand that. And I came over here, about a year later, I met John. A woman picks me up in the airport. I'm doing a big talk, stayed with her. She takes me to an interview. She'd never been, but she's after a job. When again, she comes out after 2 minutes, said he wants to see you. And I said, what do you mean he wants to see me? I'm not going in. I'm dressed in shorts. I went in and he said, his name was Hardy Brown. And he said, we've been waiting for you. And he's talked like this weird stuff about, being a prophet. And anyway, he said, you've got to come and speak at my group. We're this Christian group. And on the way out the door, Sue got the job. But on the way out the door, I turned around and said, oh, by the way, Hardy, what's your group called? And he said, we call ourselves Isaiah 61. And it just goes on crazy stuff that keeps happening to me like that.
Wow, that is so profound. I
Yeah.
also had that divine intervention as well, because I was dealing with all these health issues. I was like, well, then I went through meditation and discovered I had thoughts, but I wasn't my thoughts. But if I wasn't my thoughts, who was I? And I just heard a voice one day say, perfect spirit. And I just knew that's it. My spirit is whole. It's simply the body and mind that are damaged. Then I just had this feeling that all is well. All sense of fear just dropped away. And my health issues went away. My doctors cannot explain me. Because I
No,
think once we remember our truth of who we are, that we are greater than our thoughts.
I truly 100% with experience and 9,000 patients down the line, 100% agree with that. I mean, if you're trying to get rid of a toxin illness, but you're taking toxins from the pharmaceutical company, how the hell does that work? But I ask people, Barbara, I ask them a simple question. I say to them, have you ever been to the doctor who has given you a pill for the sickness, ailment, or disease that's cured the disease and you no longer have to take that pill ever again? And the answer is no, never.
Right.
So with God in your life, I mean, there's 3,000 gods. Just freaking pick one, guys. I don't believe in good. Get on with it. See how you go. I'm telling you now, there's something. So we studied around the mind. The mind is energy. Can't see it, touch it, feel. But listen to this. We stand by these results. When the mind, because it's mind over matter. The brain is energy. The brain is mind over matter. That's where the saying comes from. But when the mind is connected to an outside power and the neural pathways are changed away from the patterns, our DNA changes. Now, why is that important? I'm not the same guy, Barbara, as I was on the streets. I'm not the same guy that was suffering from untreated alcoholism. I know my power today. I know what I'm capable of doing. I'm proud. I'm happy. One of the reasons you'll see on here, Barbara, I never give we're not after work when we come on here, visit the website. No, visit the website. We don't need any work. We're here to save one person. We're here to jog somebody's mind to go, oh my goodness, I had that thing. If I can just do this, that's the reason why I do these podcasts. It's like, we're not here to sell anything. We're here to share the truth about what went on with you and me, about how the body can heal itself, how the body can do miraculous things, but we've pulled away so much from the basic idea that we can heal ourselves, or God can heal us, or spirit can heal us, to taking pharmaceutical drugs.
Right. It's all about conditioning. That's what we're taught. You're not feeling well, you go to the doctor, you take medicine. This is how we're programmed, but that has to change. I always tell people, tap into you. What is best for you? Not to prescribe formulas outside of you, but what is best for you?
Yeah. And, the typical thing in America and England and stuff is if you feel depressed, you say to your partner, or I feel depressed, go to the doctor. He can get on some medication. So I go to the doctor. He doesn't ask me, by the way, about my diet, my exercise. He just asks me nothing about that. He just prescribes an SSRI or SSRI, which is a false serotonin. So I take the pills. Now I have a false serotonin. Okay, that's never going to be good. But it also depletes my own serotonin. So I'm only going to feel as good as the pills make me, which is about 60%. Why isn't anybody asking the question why my serotonin is low in the first place? But nobody is. Why is people saying that my dad passed heart disease down to me? Well, that's not true. It's biologically impossible. Why are people telling us if you do this and do this, you'll be healthy? That's not true. 95% of our food is sprayed in cornstarch. Most of it is canola oils and rancid oils. Most of that stuff in the supermarket today is not real food. I mean, guess what? If you're buying 2% milk, then it's not milk. If your supermarket has a health food section, then what does that make the rest of the supermarket. I mean, nobody's asking these questions, but we're going on. There's new illnesses every day. There's a bloody commercial every couple of days for a new medication or a new made-up illness, and everybody's going along with it. It's crazy. And we're outspoken, and we've been followed, phone's been bugged, and, we've been threatened. And it's just like, I'm 63 years old. What the hell can you do to me that I haven't already done to myself, first of all? And secondly, I died twice on the streets in Manchester. Why am I going to be quiet about this? There's just no way.
You really brought some interesting points. And it just reminded me of the story too of my psychiatrist when I was suicidal and bad emotional shape, was always prescribing stuff, but he never once said to me when I was seeing him for 20 years, why are you taking your thoughts as truth?
That's it. And simple questions, Baba, that we look at today and go, I remember when doctors used to do that. I remember going to doctors as a 12, 13, 40, and, I had ulcers in my stomach when I was young. But he'd spend like 40 minutes talking to me about stuff, surrounding that ailment. I mean, I know doctors are stressed out and they've got like 7 minutes, if that, to see patients. I get all that. But enough already with the pharmaceuticals. Enough. There's a great book out there, guys, called The Body Keeps Score. And it teaches you how to listen to the body. But the body, the mind, and the brain, you can literally heal. You can literally be anybody you want to be. You can do anything. And years ago, when I used to tell my patients that, some of them, the smart asses used to, I can't, President of the United States, let's forget one's political views for a second. We're a freaking businessman running the country with no political experience whatsoever. Don't dare tell me you can't achieve your dreams. It's just not true.
Right. I see a lot of people aren't curious about life. They're just going through life, but not asking questions like, why? Why is this true? What's going on here?
I did the same with my alcoholism. I was sick of people telling me, you've got alcoholism, you drink too much, stop drinking to your kids. It's just you drink too much alcohol. I knew there was more because I grew up, like I said, I was a fighting guy, bodybuilder, steroids. I was a mean fighting guy, but I couldn't solve this drinking thing. So I always knew there was more. So that's what I started to do. I started to ask questions and nobody had the answer. Nobody still has the answer. You look at onset dementias, it's diabetes 3. America's the only country in the world that doesn't relate to it as diabetes 3. It's just crazy. The methylation of certain proteins in food that we can't. We're not asking questions about, I have heart disease. It runs in the family. That's impossible, first of all. And I'll tell you what's happening. The staple diet that the family eat, for instance, Dad can't methylate the food or protein that he's been given on that staple diet. So when it can't methylate, there becomes a deficiency. That deficiency causes the illness. Period. So what I do when I leave the house, I can't run the staple diet. Let's say it's onions. And I eat onions and I can't methylate the onions and I get sick because of the deficiency. And I think I've got it all down. No. What are we eating? Why haven't we done the test? Why haven't we found out what we can't methylate and what we can methylate and the deficiency in our body? We don't even do grounding anymore because we think it's silly. Like, really, guys?
Yeah, it's really about going back to some of the basics and just taking things slow, slowing down. I think one of the problems we have in society is that we're too impatient, that we're too busy. We're not taking a time out and say, is this best for me?
It's a quick fix. Give me the quick fix because my life is so busy. Now, I want to preempt what I just said by saying if you're on medication from the doctor for depression, stay on it. I'm not telling you to stop. I'm not a medical doctor. I'm a double PhD. What my argument is rather when you first think you're depressed, rather than go to the doctor, look at what's going on with your habits, with eating and stuff like that. Make sure that you get in there's 4 chemicals every day that need to happen in the brain. Dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphin every day for me to be happy and content. And there's 4 ways of doing that every day. I do it myself. Dopamine and serotonin, you're creating the gut. They're not creating the brain. So if you're eating garbage, let's take McDonald's fries. The worst thing you could eat, what would you imagine? McDonald's fries in England have 3 ingredients in it. McDonald's fries in America has 27 ingredients in it. You walk into any store, pick the appetizing, the health bar, the granola bar that you've seen on TV, grab it. It says 9 grams of protein and 0 fat. I'm having some of that, Baba, and I know it's going to be good for me. Then I turn the package around and see there are at least 30 ingredients in there. And the first ingredient is canola oil. The body cannot methylate canola oil. It's not meant for human consumption. And then they have this or that you don't even know what to put in themselves. It's just the ingredients in there. You have to Google it if you don't know what they are and stay away. Now, I'm not asking everyone to go to Whole Foods and spend $1 million a month on shopping. There's always an alternative in the supermarket where you shop. Just be sensible. 1 day a week, eat grass-fed or, I used to hate the word organic, but something I'm liking even more and more these days.
Right. But even if you go to Whole Foods, you still have to look at the ingredients because, if you have to Google it, it's a good question that is this really, do I really need this? If I don't know what it is, do I really need this?
Exactly. And now you talk about, well, I want 0 sugar. Don't take any sugar. Well, if you're not looking at what's on the back of the package, you're taking sugar. They just call it different names.
Yeah, exactly. And that's that quick fix. As we're wrapping up here, do we have any last nuggets that you would share somebody trying to restart their life in a new direction?
Well, everybody could restart today, right now. Okay, I'm going to give you 3 things to do before we finish in a second, but anybody can change. Change is what we are. What we do is we stay in the comfort zone. So I will stay in my comfort zone because I'm scared of failure or, not succeeding or sometimes succeeding. So I'll stay in there. The change happens today, guys. The change happens that you can change everything about you today. And you can, if you're going to work with a boss you hate every day, get another job. If you're going over to a partner every night, they're arguing and walking on eggshells, get another partner. It really is that easy. You get one shot at this. And I'll tell you something now. You think you got time? You don't have time, guys. You don't have time. How many times have moms waving them off to kindergarten one day, the next day, and waving them off to college? Where's the time gone? Where's the time gone when we just started 37 minutes ago? It's gone. It's for everyone think they have time. You don't have time. Do it today. Marry that girl, buy that house, start a business. We'll do it today. Okay. And remember, be kind to each other. When we compliment 3 people a day, for instance, it's free dopamine free dopamine for them. So 2 things I want to finish. There's a guy that walked to the Golden Gate Bridge. He threw himself off and committed suicide. When the police fished him out, they find his identity. They go back to the apartment and looking for next of kin. What they find is a note on the kitchen table. And it read, I'm going to walk to the Golden Gate Bridge, an hour walk, by the way, and I'm going to throw myself off and commit suicide. Unless on the way there, somebody smiles, says good morning, waves at me. In that case, I'll stop, I'll turn around, and I'll start again tomorrow. So the question is, first of all, is how many people have you walked past today heading to the Golden Gate Bridge? Secondly, one of the reasons why nobody's ever woke up laughing in the morning from sleep is lack of oxygen. Every illness, growth, cancer grow in the hypoxic area of the body. So here's the 3 things I want you to do, guys, that'll change your life if you do it correctly. When you wake up in the morning, let's get the subconscious brain thrives in hypoxia, in lack of oxygen. That's the guy that wakes us up in the morning. On an older circadian sleep pattern between 2 and 5 is when the body is at its lowest. So when we wake up, the subconscious brain is there. This is the guy that's no good. This is the guy with all the bad stuff hidden there. You're going to run the day. One comment, one whatever will drag back that recall, and you're going to have a bad day. How do we get rid of this guy who comes from the subconscious brain? The 20 exaggerated breaths in and out before we start the morning. Really exaggerate the breaths, okay? Hold on to something, you're going to go this. Now we've got all the oxygen. Now the conscious brain is alert and ready to go. And this guy is behind there somewhere. He doesn't like it. He's hiding. So with conscious brain, go into the bathroom, stand 6 feet away from the mirror because there is an optical illusion that when we get close, we see all our blemishes. That's not how people see you. We think it is. But when's the last time you were in the office? Hey, Jimmy, we don't do that. So when you stand 6 feet away, your blemishes go and you see the true you. Say, I love you 10 times in the mirror. Let's start replacing them 300 neural pathways with good stuff. And the last thing I want you to do, guys, is if you brush your teeth with your right hand, let's start repatterning. 1 week left, 1 week right, 1 week left, 1 week right. Within a month, you would repattern part of your brain because you're doing the alternative to what you normally do.
Wow, that is great advice. Yeah, just to, simple things we can do. It doesn't be complicated. I had a 5-minute practice and my whole life changed. This also doesn't take a whole lot of time, but I'm sure it would change your whole life to start the day oxygenated, feeling good, being in control. Like you said, the subconscious will immediately grab onto the day and repeat the day. You don't want to repeat yesterday because yesterday might have been no good.
You've got it right there, Bobby. It's called a basal ganglia. It's how repetition, strength, confirms part of the brain if we're going to learn anything. So if we're going up yesterday's thought patterns and bad day, well, guess what? You're going to have a bad day today. It's going to repeat itself in the basal ganglia. But if you snap out of that, you have a fresh start for that day where you'll blow yourself away, guys, of what you are actually capable of achieving and doing and helping people. My mind has been blown that many times. It's unreal. Stand in the sunlight of the spirit, help people on a daily basis, and start to believe that you have been put on this earth for a reason. Like if you're in a dead-end job, but your passion is painting, buy a little website, $3, $10, GoDaddy, get a business card, Vistaprint, $10 for $500. Start selling one painting a month. Then you might sell 2, 3, 4, 5, and sell that many paintings so you can pack in that job that you hate and create an empire. And there's only one thing that's stopping you, and that's you.
Right. To realize we are greater than our thoughts. And our thoughts are living in yesterday. We got to wake up, be here today, and enjoy life because this is it. Time is not guaranteed to anyone. We all known someone that was here one day and not here the next.
Yeah.
Because life goes in an instant.
Yeah. So true. And a friend of mine just died from cancer. He was diagnosed 6 weeks ago. And that's it. His dog's gone. And he's like, wow. But the idea is every single day you need to be changing the world. And if you're not changing the world, go drink, go use, go back to the old, because you have to be. Well, how do I change the world? How do I change? Listen, here's a real quick one for you guys. Next time you're in a built-up area of people, sneakers are always the best. When someone's walking towards you, nice sneakers on, I want you to say 2 words, nice sneakers. And he'll go, oh, thank you, man. When he passes you, turn around, watch him. He's going to look down at his sneakers at least 2 times, maybe 3 times. Now you just change his whole world, okay? So that's good. But guess what happens? He goes home, and because he's in a great mood, the partner's in a great mood. And because the partner's in a great mood, mother-in-law calls, now she's in a great mood. You've just changed the world with 2 freaking words. Nice sneakers. You never know what people are going through, and you can change that.
Right, because you're always impacting society when you don't realize it. You have to treat the person and the family like you're saying. It's a collective that we're in this together. That there's really, truly no one separate from us. That we're all human. So be human.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I love life today. And we always say we do what we love because we love what we do. But we've created, like me and my wife, this life that is peaceful but exciting. When we first got married, we had a little argument on the second day. And she said, that's the way marriage is. And I said, says who? And we've used that says who more than our life up to now. It's like, we're not living by them rules of being depressed, being argumentative. Then we're not living by the rules. Create your own rules. If somebody, you know how many times I've been told I can't do stuff? The answer is always the same. Says who? Who's making these rules up? I don't like it. So I'm going to start making my own up. And the more you realize that you can make your own rules up and live the life you want to live, the more exciting it gets. And the only way to thrive in that situation and environment is to give it away.
Just give it away. Just give this. I love that. I'm going to use that because I'm in the New York subway. So when I see that, that's a nice tip. Nice sneakers, because everybody's proud of their sneakers and their brand new sneakers.
Yes, exactly. And we stopped giving compliments out. And, we had it in Dallas. A guy came in suicidal and he walked out laughing and high-fiving the nurses. We had a new starter there, nurse, and the new starter said to the other nurse, oh my God, did you see what Dr. Robb just did with that guy? And the nurse said, I know. And she said, oh my God, he's amazing. And the other nurse said, no, have you told him? Oh, you already know. Nobody knows, guys. Nobody knows. So validation and approval is very important. Whether you're 5 years old or 500 years old, it's very important. Stop keeping it to yourself. Make somebody's day.
Right. No one can guess what you're thinking. So let them know. It's too short, life.
Yeah, exactly. So let's change it, guys. Let's change it from today. Whenever you hear this, do the things I've told you to do. and then getting much knowledge about what we've been talking about today. And your life will change, man, because I never want to get to 80 and go, oh, do you know, if I would have done this, or, maybe I should. I never want to do that. I do it. I take everything that's this opportunity. I've done some crazy things in my life because I never say no. Because you never know where that leads, I was in real quick, sorry, Baba. I was in a cafe, a broken down cafe, mom and pop, not really clean. And we're at the table, me and my friend, and the food is amazing. So that's where we go. And there's a woman on the next table, and she's on her own. And she's dressed in a headscarf and what looked like a dirty overcoat. And you can tell she may be living on the streets, but she was articulate. And she turned around and she says, I'm sorry, I heard you talking about alcoholism. My daughter suffers from that. Have you got a card I can give her? Now, at that point, Baba, I should have said, no, don't worry, no. Bag lady, you don't want to know. But I didn't. I got my bag and I took a card out and I gave it. She was only the heiress of a huge multi-billion-dollar family. We went on to work with that girl who's now a high-powered position in the government. You never know who God puts in front of you. Are you going to ignore them because of ego, or are you going to help them?
That's such a great story. Yes, absolutely. Help who you can help, that we're here to serve, to be of service to others, because, we're given gifts for certain reasons and we have to embrace them. So, Dr. Robb, if anybody has any questions, how would they reach out to you if you're open to questions?
So if you're listening and not watching, I spell my name with two B's, ROBBKELLY.com is the website. Dr. Robb Kelly, any search engine, all the social medias. I only do Facebook myself. So if you find me on Facebook and you have a question, please let me have it and I'll answer it. I will definitely answer it. And the first time you message me, I'll give you my phone number, my personal cell, so we go back and forth, because I'm just there to help, man. Somebody said the other day, he asked me about my life, and I told him, I have what not a lot of people have. And he said, what is that? And I said, enough. So my job now is to pass this on to as many people. Still have company to run, still have businesses and staff and stuff like that. But I give a lot of free time back because that makes me smile today. So come find us, guys.
Yeah, perfect. Well, thank you for joining us on the conversations today. I really enjoyed our talk.
Thank you so much indeed. Bye, guys.